Welcome back to RGO Photo. I realized for the $600 full frame setup, I don't really have any pictures with the 5D Mark II and the Canon 24-105 f4. So I got to go out and get some. So we're going to do that now. We're going to get some pictures of these flowers, and it's a bit windy today, so we're going to have to make sure our shutter speed is up to freeze these jokers, as you can probably hear that wind noise. So we got two shots there. The first one is kind of oriented in that way just to kind of get some background blur and just show some of the out of focus area and bokeh that this lens produces. And then the second shot here is just so we can kind of zoom in a little bit and check out the kind of pseudo macro ability of this lens, as well as just to show you can capture plenty of detail with a 20 megapixel camera, 21 in this case. So on these two little J pipes, first shot is focus on the closer one at, I think, was that 70-ish, and then second one, increase the focal length to about 100 or so, and then see the difference when you focus on the back one, the foreground and the background, just to see the different amount of out of focus blur you can get on f4. It was on f4, right? Yeah, f4.
Well, that didn't quite work out the way I wanted. So what I was doing there was taking what I like to call a faux portrait of a fire hydrant. So here it is. And I think we got a nice in focus fire hydrant here. And just checking out how the background blur goes up the hill. And this is a light post up in a parking lot. So now let's continue on and check out the other photos. Here we got U-shaped bar. I really don't know what it is. It might be a bike rack, a place to lock your bike. I'm not sure, but got the paddle boards in the back here and mountains in the back here. Now I shot this traffic cone because then I could get a shot down the sidewalk with all the other traffic cones. So we got a nice focus there with the 5D Mark II and the 24-105 f4. And we got these traffic cones going all the way back. Now this shot is the only one I had prior to running out and getting some more. So this was an early morning. This was a heck of a sunrise. And I'm not exaggerating because this shot is with a Panasonic G100. And the only thing I did here was lift the shadows a little bit so that you could see the grass down in here. But, I mean, it was a heck of a morning. So I think it renders color really well. I was focused here on this, but man, crazy sky that morning. So those are some sample images from the 5D Mark II and the 24-105 f4 lens. So initially this was the only option that I had, but then I sat and thought about it for a while and looked at the records of things I've, what I paid for things, and coming in at just under $600, we have the Canon 6D with a Tamron 28-300mm lens. So this would be considered an all-in-one lens, and it's really not a bad lens. They get a lot of bad rap because they're not as sharp as a prime or a premium zoom lens, but this lens really isn't that bad, and it does colors. It renders colors very well. So combine that with a Canon sensor, you got great colors. So anywho, this bad boy, 28-300, look how small it is in comparison. It is smaller it's about the same length, but smaller in diameter to the Canon lens here. So we go from 28 to 300 with just a flick of your wrist. How crazy is that? And the other good thing about this, if this is like your first lens or your first camera setup, is that with this amount of focal range, you can start to determine what focal lengths do you shoot the most, because that's where you would then upgrade to a better lens. So if you find yourself shooting everything below 70, maybe you're looking for a nice 24 to 70 millimeter, and not just the Canon L versions, but maybe the Sigma Art, Tamron G2 version, the Tokina ATX Pro. All of those are 24 to 70 2.8 lenses, and they're all really good and cheaper than a Canon 24 to 70. Pretty much any 24 to 70, even the original one is still pretty pricey, but the Mark II and the Mark III versions are even more. The Mark II is supposed to be a really good lens though. Still probably a decent bang for your buck, even though it is an expensive lens. But anywho, that's another subject. So let's throw out a couple example photos that I've taken with this combo. I haven't used this combo a lot, and I haven't used this lens a lot, but let's check this out. So here we're at 300 millimeters f6.1. So we're kind of maxed out on it. So we focused here on the front bird, and these are Eurasian collared doves. They are an invasive species in the US. They're not supposed to be here, but here they are. So I focused on this front one just because the back one is blurry. The out of focus area is not the greatest. It's kind of busy and spastic looking back there. And the next shot, I focus on the back bird. Now this next one here, this is at f10 106 millimeters. So we focused right here. And it's a good, I don't know, 200 yards, 250 to the other side of this lake I'm at. So here's the background blur at f10, but it's a couple hundred yards away from the focal point. Now here I was playing with the HDR function of the Canon, and I shot two photos here. This first one is a wide shot, and just looking at it with the colors, I think it's really, really nice. Now this was in the process of tearing down a power plant in town, and so this smokestack is gone, this one's gone, this is gone, all these little things down here are gone. So you can no longer get this photo anymore. Got reasonable amount of detail. So this was shot at 70 millimeters. Then I shot another one at 300 millimeters at this crane. So it's like a single X-shaped crane. And at 300 millimeters, f7.1, we stopped it down a little bit. This dealership sign is probably 2 miles away, maybe as much as 3 as the crow flies. So it's a long ways out there. So these short smokestacks here, those are still there. These are all gone. These things here, they're all gone. So this is basically an empty lot now. So that's our options I got here at $600. This is a really good, the 5D Mark II with this lens makes for some great photographs, because the sensor is so good on this 5D Mark II as far as color rendition, and just kind of that quality of photograph. They just come out nice. They just really do. The 6D is no slouch in that department either. So when you just put a decent lens on them, they just have a certain good look to them. And this lens, the Tamron 28-300, not a great lens on a full for wildlife on a full frame camera, but if you put this on a crop sensor camera like a Canon 70D, 80D, or one of the Rebel series, this 300 becomes a 480 millimeter, which is better. for wildlife. You probably still want that 600 to 800 range-ish for wildlife, but this will give you an idea of what you can get. And on a crop sensor camera, theoretically, the center of the image is better than the periphery edges, so you get rid of the full frame edges and you're just on the crop sensor, the best part of the image on the crop sensor. So, but that's talking about the lens and not the $600 full frame kits we're talking about right now. Hope you enjoy these series of videos. I'm trying to save y'all a little bit of money, especially if you're just starting out, or if you're looking for a retro camera that, you know, to kind of augment your newer stuff, just for the fun nostalgia of it. We got one more to do, and I think you're going to see the 6D in this lens again. So we've got a newcomer as well. I don't think I've shown the lens I have for the Nikon D600. So that will be in our next video, which was the last video of the full frame budget kits, and that's $700. So I hope you join us for that. Give us a thumbs up if you like this video. Hit the subscribe button down there. Both those things are free, so don't just click it and then forget about it. Thanks for watching.